which is the one we're going to be coming to. And Clutch, what exactly was it, remind folks at home, about Pool C that is so exciting and the competition thriving within that?
I think you got to talk about the talent that's on every roster, right? You're looking at even Proton Gaming, the 3rd seed, with players like Gilkey on their team, players that have been there, done that, and like have had the success and been in the top 6 and the top 4. They know what it takes. They have the individual skill. My big worry for Pool C and why it's the pool of death, do I think there's going to be a ton of upsets? Not necessarily, but I think that the open bracket team that finds themselves in Pool C is going to find themselves packing up their bags shortly after.
Yeah, you can look at it as either a pool of death or a pool of opportunity, because as you look at some of the, you look at like Sentinels, they aren't as strong, let's be real, as Space Station or FaZe when you look at these top 3 seeded teams walking this event. However, they are still very scary. We're going to have to see how scary they are at this tournament.
Indeed, very scary indeed. I think there's a bunch of teams that could be coming up and shocking the world at the moment in time. But I've got to say, this first match that we're going to be seeing here with you, Walshy, is probably the most exciting of the day. Sentinels versus Shopify Rebellion. This is going to be an absolute banger, and I truly think a bloodbath on that main stage. We're going to kick things off talking about Sentinels, though. On the side of Sen, they have been very, very consistent in the offseason. I've really enjoyed the fact that this roster has stuck together. Now, Wes, do you think sticking was the right move?
I do. I think that this team really captured something at SLC last year when they were able to get second. And with that momentum, they played pretty consistent from that point on. They took down FaZe twice at SLC. They have beaten some of these other top 3 teams that we call the juggernauts in our league pretty consistently. Like, they're trading series with SSG and Optic and FaZe, and that's where you want to be. You want to be in the mix. You want to have a dog in the fight. Sentinels have that dog in the fight. They have a ton of individual skill. They believe in what they have in-house. I love what we saw from Spartan very shortly after Worlds last year. He came out on Twitter and says, we will not be making a team change. They stayed true to that, because when that happened, I was like, maybe you're not making the team.
Maybe you don't know what's going on behind the scenes here, buddy.
Yeah, but usually something happens. A teammate gets an opportunity that's on your team. Like, someone gets an offer, or all of a sudden things aren't going your way once the Bandits start. So you find a way, like you find a need for a change that we saw happen even with the Quadrant roster, for example, over in Europe. That's not what happened with Sentinels. They stayed true to themselves. They believe what they have in-house, and I love the idea that they're going to run it back this year with ambitions of having a banner hanging from the roof at some point.
They certainly do have those ambitions, and I think the confidence to stick together, like you said, speaks volumes, I think, heading into the season, especially with all the different changes that a lot of teams have capitalized on, Walsh.
Yeah, and I can speak from experience being on some rosters that have stayed together for a long time. It instills that confidence for your team to grow in a position like that. No longer are you looking at from scrim to scrim like, all right, are we going to make a change, or do I need to play a little better today, or whatever it is. You get into a growth mindset saying, how are we going to build together? What are we going to do to make small changes? You're able to make those sacrificial plays we need to and just grow together as a squad.
And on the opposite end, I spent my entire career making team changes.
Down in the ring, you're just fighting for your life every practice.
Absolutely. Hurricane Ola affected me. Hurricane Hines affected me. Everything under the sun. I had a new team every 2 events. And let me tell you, that is stress. Yes. And that stress, like Dave said, you feel insecure going into like every single scrim almost, like I have to play lights out, or is it my name being called next? So that can weigh on players, and that can create a lot of drama and friction amongst teams. The fact that they are professional enough to have done what they've done as far as sticking together, I love the idea of that for Sentinels, and let's see if they can use that to grow and become a professional team that can compete with the world's best.
Indeed. Luckily for Sentinels, that trade window is firmly closed right now, and they're feeling pretty good on that stage. But looking in another window, of course, window shopping with Shopify Rebellion, these guys are looking to take down Sentinels. They're looking to cause a huge upset right from the get-go. Walshy, we've seen so many different versions of talented rosters, right, come and go, especially in the past 3 years of Halo Infinite. What is missing from these teams to not be hitting the next level or breaking top 4? Do you see this team having that opportunity?
I do see them having this opportunity. I mean, when you ask what's missing from those rosters, I've talked about this before when we've talked on the side, and it's this consolidation of winning talent, or just this veteran leadership of who has been there, done that, won multiple tournaments, and it really ends up being consolidated on a few rosters, or a lot of those players have retired now these days. And so are they going to be able to pick up enough from each other? Are they going to take learnings from past teammates? Are they learning enough from having someone like Best Man as their coach to bring this to the next level?
Indeed, I think a lot of it lies on also execution of what you're trying to put out, right? It's you have a game plan, but can you execute that game plan well?
Can you adjust and reel it back? Because when it comes to like execution, it's all right. Are they going to hit their shots? Yes, they're going to be scary good. Now, when things start to go against them, are they going to be able to mitigate those losses? Are they going to be able to, not have a squad like Sentinels turn that into a double cap? Instead, just let the one cap go, get some control across the map. That's where it's going to be really the true test. I have no concerns about them when things are going well for them. They are going to be doing just fine.
Right, Wes, I want to say, when you're looking upon this roster, why should we believe in this roster?
I think this roster has the most individual skill outside of the top 4, and I think that was the goal for them. I think they looked around and said, what we're doing isn't working. We need to figure out a way to be able to compete with the 4 best teams in the world. And in order to do so, gun skill is what's going to be the most important. You got to have that gun skill box checked before you start going into, hey, are we preparing for tournaments well enough? Is our strategy good enough? Because those top 4 teams, they will run you over with just pure gun skills. Shopify have done what it takes as far as getting the first step done and saying, let's get 4 players that can compete in some of these gunfights that are going to be against the Royal Twos, the Stellars of the world, because not many players can do that. They have the 4 individuals, I believe, that can win those individual fights. Now it's about can you play good team efficient Halo against the world's best, which is the hard part, like Dave said. It's all easy when you have control of the map. What are you doing when you are on your back feet? What are you doing when you don't have control in order to regain control? That's where the good teams become great.
Well, Shay, I wanted to ask you about game changers on these rosters, because game changers, I do feel like when you're down to the wire and you have a very even competition, they can be that difference maker. They can be that next step to getting that win between a loss. So for you, when you look upon these 2, who are you really looking at?
I mean, it's hard when you're looking at something like Sentinels to not list out Spartan. He's kind of that emotional leader. You look at him playing so incredibly well. And when I'm looking over at Shopify Rebellion, it's got to be suppressed in this case. It's tough to choose between him and someone like Cycle as they're coming through in situations like this, but I think these guys are these top slayers on the squad. You see when they're going off. You hear when they get double kill. You see in the player, cam, they're just screaming out, saying double kill, next kill. What are we doing next?
Yeah, indeed. And I've got to say, you're looking at the up-and-comers, and you mentioned a couple there as well, Cycle. But I've got to say, up-and-comers are also a difference maker, and they can also actually push their way through the season and start becoming the game changers. And you're looking at people like Mental and Cycle Clutch, and what did they have in order to kind of will a series in the way of their team?
Yeah, they got the gun skill, right? The thing is can they do it consistently across a best of 5? Can they'll make a play in this series. Both of those players, and even Suppressed, will make individual plays, but it doesn't matter if you win one game. You got to win a best of 5 here. So can you consistently play well across that best of 5 is what I'm looking at. That level of consistency isn't something that I think those guys have showed that they can put on against one of the best teams in the world. I think experience is a big thing. And I think now that we're in year 3 of Halo Infinite, they've started to get a ton of experience under their belt against these teams. They haven't created those upsets yet, but they know what it's like to go to battle. They know what it's like to go to war and come across as the losing factor. Have they done enough to learn from those mistakes and figured out a way to capitalize in the moments that they know that they will have opportunity?
Well, the on-paper exciting series of the day. We'll see exactly how this one goes down. So insane, these 2 rosters. Who will make it out and who will fall short? We'll find out right now. Let's meet your teams.
they are going up against their hardest matchup in this pool to kick us off here.
And I want to talk about the player on the side of Rebellion, Soul Snipe. Left his long-time teammates on Native Red, has now branched out to play on his own, play with Cycle, Mental and Suppress, and how big a player he could be for this team.
Sometimes you do just have to move on to try and get past that kind of plateau that you've been in for so long. How long was he at, a top 4 player, but couldn't quite break into that top 3? This is now your opportunity with a brand spanking new roster to try and prove what you're made of. And if Rebellion can take down Sentinels here in this series, suddenly we are looking at them as a top 3 team, right? Sentinels are the 3rd seed coming into this. They are expected to be getting to that top 3. So this is almost a chance to slay that giant if you're Rebellion. And they have what it takes. We've seen it in the qualifiers. Yes, it's online, but it gives us a slight indication of what they're capable of.
Soul Snipe really hoping to be the Justin Timberlake to the NSYNC situation. He breaks off and he goes on to have a flourishing career. But on the other side of things, we're looking at Lethal on our screens, Dan. He has been so experienced, so good all last season, and he'll be looking to have an even better season this year.
And what's interesting, I mean, a lot of Lethal's career, certainly throughout Halo Infinite, he was the objective guy. He was the dirty player. He was the one who was just going to get things done, but wasn't statistically incredible. He's actually been stepping up. He has been the guy for Sentinels so much, so often. He can put up that damage. He can put up those numbers, and he is the big name player that we knew he was capable of being in this game.
Sentinels come into this looking to right some wrongs in the past, looking to solidify themselves not only as that top 4 seed, not only to push themselves even further, they want to be in the championship conversation, and Rebellion want to spoil the party. CTF Empyrean is going to be game number 1. I can't wait to jump into it.
Can't wait to jump into it, and I'm sure that Sentinel's going to be aggressive off the rip like they always are.
Shields up, weapons hot, we're rocking and rolling here.
Sentinels do like to use Spartan as just kind of a watcher, an overseer at the start of these games. He'll grab sniper rifle, try and get some indication of where the other team's going to be, scout them out, and then provide that information to the rest of the team. But he has already lost all 3 of his members, so these shots are crucial just to try and keep Rebellion back a little bit here.
Mental has Snipe on the other side. He picked up 2. Rockets and overshield for Cycle. Recognizing he has to slow things down, hoping to hold a halfway line here. Really apply pressure to Sentinels. We're on the back foot. Falcate is going to be the opening pick, and that means Rebellion have an opportunity to push forward.
Yeah, once he gets his shields back here, he should be joining the rest of the team because they've got that pick, but great damage from Lethal from Snipe's side. He had his eyes trained on top Banana. He knew Cycle was going to be staying there, and Rebellion, they're not getting too aggressive yet. They don't want to throw themselves at Sentinels, find themselves going 2 or 3 down, and then losing the map control that they gained right at the start of this one.
They have given up a little bit of map control. Cycle will disappear over towards Sword. Mental in there too, which means both fresh spawners are going to be a little bit isolated and alone. 2 kills go in the favor of Sentinels. So that opening start that Rebellion had, overshield, rockets, sniper rifle picks, and it's their flag who's the first one on the move.
It all gets overshadowed, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's Boo Boo Doo Boo who's picking up the flag as well. He has been the flag guy for Sentinels as Spartan doesn't quite send Mental off the map, but he does get the kill. All the meanwhile, there is Boo Boo Doo Boo, and yet again, he is the man who has the plan, and he gets the flag into the base, and Sentinels take the lead.
You talk about efficiency, both these teams have 10 kills, but it is Sentinels who take the lead. Absolutely clinical when they have the advantages to press home and get the lead.
Throughout qualifiers, Boo Boo Doo had over double the flag grabs of anyone on his team. As such a player who is always been known for his aggression, I'm not surprised, getting behind enemy lines, pulling that flag when necessary, but he needs the support around it, and it was all from that sword control that Sentinels regained off of Rebellion, and as soon as they had that, the spawners had no chance for Rebellion. They had to let it go.
Rebellion on the back foot once more. Spartan is taking control of the opposition training. Happy to stay alive for now, get his shields back after getting an initial bit of damage. Lethal's going to drop down runway, but straight into 2 guns. Mental soaring forward. Kills have gone their way. We're hearing some rockets explode in the background as well. Overshield will evade 1 rocket. Oh, will get shut down. 3 down for Rebellion. Flag gets returned. The map will split for now, but Mental's got hands on flag, and perhaps little more than a distraction.
Yeah, Lethal did get a nade towards it, which should just delay the flag from being pulled, but a big kill from Soul Snipe, followed up by Mental. There is a chance here for Rebellion for a flag pull. Try and get that down long haul. If he can get it there was maybe an opportunity. But Boo Boo Doo from top tower is doing some real work here for Sentinels just to keep that flag from moving.
Boo Boo soars forward. Off the top tower. Flag will get sent home.
Return.
They will still hold out. Slender lead. Mental's got snipe. He's been de-scoped and pressured. Spartan on the other side. We're gonna have a little bit of an old-fashioned snipe off. Like the Roy Borgen snipe down of old. This time, it's gonna be Spartan and Cycle. Or Mental, excuse me. This one slowed down. Both teams recognizing that damage on this map can be pivotal.
This is perfect for Sentinels. They're more than happy for it to slow down when they have a cap advantage. And it's similar to what we saw during qualifiers, that Rebellion could get the slays, they could get the map control, but when it came to the actual flag runs, they just weren't able to kind of get it down long haul. They weren't able to really give themselves a chance. But Mental now, just keeping Sentinels back, trying to regain a little bit of map control with these body shots, but they have to start pressing their advantage at some point. 7 minutes 45 left on the clock, so it's not too much of a rush right now, but Mental needs help from the rest of the team. They need to be saying to him, look, they're trying to take Sword now, give us a body shot so that we can get aggressive on it and regain it for ourselves.
Valiant have 3 players positioned over towards tower here. Boo Boo is trying to get some information, will receive a body shot. Mental will send them back home. Another body shot, double kill. Sniper goes down, more ammunition for Mental to put into the magazine as they now finally start to venture forward, but they've been pinned back for so long, and much of it their own doing.
Mental 11 kills at the moment, finally gets control of Sword, and this is their chance to try and take control of the map. All you need is one headshot here, and it will allow Rebellion to push up. But with Boo Boo Doo Boo holding that assault rifle, it's not going to be as easy. You heard the overshield getting popped as well. It's going to be Soul Snipe grabbing that one, and now Rebellion should try and press forward.
Looks as though Boo Boo Doo Boo is behind enemy lines.
Again, that's all he does. That's what Boo Boo is known for. They have to take him out first. You can't just let him sit there for too long, but Rebellion, they see that Sentinels are using this distraction to their advantage.
Boo Boo continues to be a nuisance, and 3 go down for Rebellion. They didn't take care of Trouble. Now Trouble's coming back to bite them in the backside. Boo Boo Doo Boo soars forward with the flag. Is finally cut down by Soul Snipe. But Lethal's got hands on, he's already pushing it forward. Rebellion in real trouble of going down by 2.
And that's one of the things statistically, even though Lethal's not usually the guy to grab the flag, he is often the guy to put the flag back home, as now Sentinels 2-0 up here. 6 minutes remain, and Rebellion don't look like they have what it takes to score a flag at the moment, and Sentinels can play even more defensive if they would like to at this point.
Completely in control now. Game number 1. Mental with Bulldog in hand, sitting under bridge. Tries to lock in Falcade, will manage to do so. They've had kills, they've had map control, but they've just been a little bit too slow.
And I think the Rebellion would have come into this series layout and they would have seen that it was going to be CTF Imperium to kick things off, and they know it's not one of their best game types. I'm fairly certain they didn't even win it once throughout the 4 qualifiers leading up to this event. And again, it just comes down to that objective efficiency for me. You can see slaying-wise, they have the power, but even the Bulldog not taking down Lethal there. Great work just on top tower to try and stay alive and use the support of his teammates.
Spartan with snipe. Looking to provide some cover fire for Boo Boo Doo Boo, but unfortunately, none of the members of Rebellion are going to expose themselves to the long scope. Eventually, body shot connects, Lethal on hand to apply the finishing touches to that kill.
Flag return.
They've got control of Rebellion's courtyard here.
Good time to get control as well. Overshield, rockets coming up. If Sentinels can grab this one, it might be all she wrote for Rebellion. Could argue this is Rebellion's last chance to get back into this game, but they are pinned at the moment into the Mauler. And they are going to be collapsed on. Good nades though, good defensive nades coming out of Rebellion. They do take down 3 members of Sentinels, but all the meanwhile, it has allowed rockets to go into the Sentinels' hands. Rebellion though, Soul Snipe, Overshield to work with, and it has to begin now if they want to come back. 4 minutes 20, seems like a good amount of time, but when you are 2 flags down and you've yet to really get the flag moving, has to happen soon.
Rebellion and Sentinels splitting the power on the map then. Soul Snipe's in trouble. Soul Snipe is no more. They've cleared him out of the base. That's happened time and time again. Anytime they've really threatened to get something going, Sentinels so good at getting back and clearing players out of their base.
Yeah, that's the big difference. When you saw Boobadooboo get in behind enemy lines, he wasn't cleared up, he wasn't focused quick enough, and then Sentinels used that distraction to push up, push through green, and then work with Boobadooboo. However, when Rebellion have got a player behind, they've been on their own, and they have been targeted by Sentinels. And now with 3 minutes 37 left on the clock, it's looking more and more likely that this is going to be a Sentinels opener. By the way, 20 kills now for Falcated. We haven't mentioned him yet. We haven't mentioned what an incredible player he has been throughout Halo Infinite's lifespan. And he could be one of those key factors for Sentinels going forward for the rest of this tournament.
Rebellion playing against 4 very talented players, and now very quickly playing against the clock. They have got to get a boogie on, or they'll find themselves down by 1 in this series. We spoke about how important the Slayers was going to be, and we can see that already.
Well, that has been Sentinel's downfall throughout the qualifiers, is they have struggled a little bit in Slayers. That's the only reason why I'm kind of focusing on that game 2 and 5. But with the amount of control we've seen in this game, it's a good indication that we know LAN's going to be different to online. I mean, Lethal doesn't have to take a monitor to an office all the way down the road. Instead, he can just play with the rest of the team right next to them. And that's going to be a huge difference maker compared to the online tournaments. But with 2 minutes 30 now, Sentinels, they can kind of play this one however they want. If they want to play a little bit defensive, they want to sit back with the sniper rifle, they can do so. It's Rebellion who have to do something, as this is why you give Spartan the sniper rifle.
I was really wondering whether Lethal's co-workers in the office miss him. Has he given them a sick note?
So, where's Lethal today? Where's that guy with the monitor? Why hasn't he turned up?
Soul Snipe looking to turn up here. Currently sitting at 11, 8, and 18. Nobody on the side of Rebellion really able to put together much in terms of the slays. The Sentinels have had much of the control of this game, number 1.
Yeah, I mean, Sentinels outslaying them 62 to 46. At the moment, it isn't close, and it allows them to play in this way. Lethal has the overshield as well, and Rebellion, and this is the part of the game where you start to get to the acceptance of, okay, we're losing it, let's start to think about map number 2. You can see Soul Snipe again is the one who's desperately trying to get into that flag. He's actively trying to pull it, but every single time he's already lost a teammate. They haven't been able to all push up at the same time. It's almost just been one by one, like lemmings, they've been taken out.
Suppressed. We hate the harp on, but we spoke about how he could be the difference maker. Currently sitting at 7, 6, and 21, having a game to forget. A couple of kills do go in the favor of Rebellion, though. Perhaps an opportunity to get 1 flag on the board, even if it's just a consolation.
In defense of Suppressed, he has been the first one to try and get as close as possible to the likes of Soul Snipe when Soul has been getting aggressive, but he's just got there that second too late. Soul Snipe's already dead, and then he was finding himself in a 1v2. Flag is on the move, 45 seconds left, so this is Rebellion's real last stand here as the flag has gone down. Longhorn, Sentinels, they are on the back foot a little bit, but is this just too late now as Suppressed finally gets the kill, and that's going to be 3 dead.
It's a 1v1 on the map for now, but the flag already well and truly given up on.
Well, here we go, 27 seconds, what have you got left? One last push, one last hurrah.
Metal heading towards Sword then. Boobadooboo throws down a denial grenade. He's taking a little bit of damage, down to 1 shot now. Falcate situated top tower. There is an opportunity in the gap over towards Long Haul if Rebellion can send numbers down that way. But they have really got to get close to this flag because they're running out of time. Down to 5 seconds. Cycle will soar forward, but will not get close enough. 4 dead. Sentinels take game number 1.
So there was a last-ditch attempt from Rebellion as they finally get that flag across the map, but it was just one of those where Sentinels, they almost let them. They were sitting back, 45 seconds left. Let's just allow that flag to go, make sure they send enough players back to support that flag. We regain map control, and we just have to make one last stand. We're not going to allow them to push through easily. And it is a very comfortable 2-1. Looks closer than it was because the Slays 74 to 58 in favor of Sentinels. I tell you what, Falcate and Boobadooboo, 24 kills and 23 kills for both of those players. And those are numbers you want when you come into a tournament. When you're in your first game, you want to see your big game players hitting those shots and making sure they're on fire right from the get-go.
And what I want to talk about is the game management from Sentinels in that they got that first flag cap. They didn't push forward, didn't just throw bodies forward. They waited, they were structured, and they sent numbers forward at the right time. We've seen their very first flag cap, both teams had 10 kills apiece.
Well, Aquarius for Sentinels, a lot of it is going to be down to the starting strategy. When we were watching VODs for both of these teams, we had seen that Rebellion typically get the better starting map. They did it on Imperium. They were able to get the power-ups. They were able to get the power weapons. Can they get the overshield here? This is the big fight. Suppressed can't put it into his chest, and Falcated goes down. Is anyone going to be able to pop it?
Soul Snipe has it in his chest. What can the Soul Man do then? As he heads towards top car. All three members of Sentinels at the moment spawning up towards the generator area. And Lethal back base trying to create some space. The overshield will go in, but he's faced by two guns. Really needs some help and some support, but eventually it comes through the shape and form of Mental. Valkyrie down to no shields. This is the perfect opening from Rebellion.
But yet again, it's Rebellion with the better starting strategy. We've noticed tendencies as the Sentinels kind of lean a 3-1 split on a lot of their maps. Spartan goes just to check out one side while the other three work together for either a power weapon or a power-up. Whereas Rebellion, they like to send all 4 players at times just to ensure they get that power up. They've gained the overshield, they've gained the opening here, and they find themselves up by 4, make it 3. It's not a massive lead, but at least it's something here for Rebellion.
Rebellion with the noses in front. Lead restored to 3. Numbers advantage on the map. 2 members positioned over towards the car side. Soul Snipe will get a little bit of damage received from a team grenade, and Lethal there to help put him in the grave. Cycle now, last man standing, and this is the time where we may see momentum start to shift as Rebellion a little bit isolated in the closet. And Lethal looking to change the angle, to change trajectory here. Mental, 1v1 with Lethal. Lethal expertly backs away and isolated that 1v1, didn't expose himself to that second player. And help on hand, 2 go down. It's textbook from Sentinels.
Yeah, this is where Sentinels could really start to take control of the game. The structure that I was talking about with the next overshield now coming up. If they can grab this one, if they can have this map control, and Rebellion get stuck on some spawn cycles, but it's Mental who gets the next overshield, and this could be the downfall for Sentinels. If they're not able to get these consistent overshields, it will allow Rebellion to keep this game scrappy. It will allow them to keep being aggressive and trying to just get some flanks on the go, and it will disrupt the Sentinels' attempt to try and be a structured side.
Cycle and suppressed combine. Pick up a couple of kills. Mental almost got ninja there. A Spartan sword over the top of him and spared his blushes as his teammate was there as well.
That was pure trust. That was like a trustful. It was like, I know someone's here, but I'm just running and I trust that you'll be able to get it for me.
You think the call it was, there's somebody jumping over me right now as I keep soaring forward, but double kill for Mental. Locked in. Boo Boo in the fridge has got 3 members of Rebellion soaring at him, and his life was cut short. Now you can see Rebellion really have Sentinels on the run.
I think another reason why Rebellion seem to be a better Slayer side than Sentinels is just look at the players. I think Rebellion have more deep-grown Slayer players who had to kind of make a name for themselves by getting those kills, by getting on the board, by being added to a team as someone who can be a high-kill player. Whereas Sentinels, you know, you've got a player like Boo Boo, like Lethal, who have been such incredible objective players at times. I think Rebellion are just teetered slightly towards a Slayer-focused team, but that could be their downfall throughout the tournament because, of course, you are going to be playing 3 objectives in a best-of-5.
Spartan down to no shields. Lethal receives a little bit of damage on his path towards P1. It will be Lethal who was dispatched. Rebellion's lead continues to grow. But you can see they're really playing in tandem. They've set up almost like a buddy system.
I also don't think Rebellion are scared to be running in as a solo. They are confidently moving around the map, happy to challenge a 1v1 if they see it, and that is probably frustrating Sentinels a little bit here. 34-21, Rebellion well and truly in charge of this game. They just have to make sure they don't allow Sentinels to get an overshield to get back into the game. It's going to be yet another one. I mean, I'm starting to think we're looking at 1-1 already with how things are starting to play out, because now Rebellion can once again get behind enemy lines, and this time it's Cycle with the overshield to just traverse the map in any way he wants.
Boo Boo almost turned on Cycle, but experiences blushes. Does lock in that kill. It's all about overshield control, and Rebellion have really had it.
And without it, Sentinels just haven't been able to get the height that they need in the map. A few times they've been able to get to kind of top P and top car, but there's always been a Rebellion player there waiting, banking a nade off something so they can initiate that damage, and then the other teammates will come through to clean things up. And even though it was somewhat close to begin with, it's really starting to run away with it now. And sure, the Heatwave did some damage there, and Mental should be there to clean it up. Again, good communication from Rebellion.
It's really looking like a matter of when, not if, Rebellion tie up this series. Two members of Sentinels positioned over towards the fridge. Spartan all alone towards Yellow Closet. You can see they're looking for poke damage, something that they can push off. Instead, they receive a little bit of grenade damage and have to back away.
I also don't mind this from Rebellion, even though they have a massive advantage. They are not getting carried away with it. They are being patient. They are saying, well, let's not just give Sentinels kills while they have a little bit of map control right now. Look at the time. Overshield up in 15 seconds. Let's actually launch an attack closer to when that's going to come up, because if we win the team fight, we also win the overshield, and most likely because of it, we'll win the game.
5 more to close this one out and tie up the series. Make game 1 a distant memory. Almost erase it from the record books, and yet another overshield goes the way of Rebellion. It's a good start for Sentinels, and that's all it was. As Rebellion set their sights on tying up the series, they really didn't look back after that second overshield grab.
I'm glad we pointed out that it was such an important matchup for Rebellion and such an important slayer for Rebellion, and not only have they been able to actually pull off a victory here, but it's going to be a dominant one, which will just put that confidence back on their side. They're not going to be too worried as we do get confirmation. Shopify take game number 2, and we're all tied up 1-1, and we do, in fact, have a series on our hands. Sometimes, you know, on a Friday, you can get some clean sweeps, but we knew Sentinels and Rebellion, they faced each other so much throughout the qualifiers, back and forth as they go, and it's going to be the same here on LAN.
You mentioned a very important word there, confidence, and it must be flowing through the veins of Cycle and Soul Snipe. 15-6 and 8, 14-7 and 1. You look at Suppressed, who also bounced back after that pretty difficult game 1. And Mental was thereabouts, popping up with a few assists as well, 11 to be exact. So that's the perfect response to game number 1.
But there was nothing, no sort of structure available for Sentinels. It was what I was worried about coming into this game 2 rotation that you're speaking of. However, if it's slightly closer in the slaying department, maybe we'll see Sentinels just holding on a little bit stronger, any advantage if they have the 2 strongholds. But that's if they are in control. There is a real chance the Rebellion could be the team that is constantly on the move, always making Sentinels second guess themselves, and they might be able to get some good stronghold points because of it.
Rebellion, this team was assembled to not only compete in these series, but to beat the likes of Sentinels, to put their names in the championships conversations. Suppress got the opening pick. Soul Snipe and Cycle fall. B for Rebellion. C and A for Sentinels. 2 members converge on Falcate to shut him down.
Although I was going to say, I think maybe Sentinels would have been happy that they got the A spawn, because they do tend to go camo side, try and take C, so they have 2 strongholds right at the get-go, and they ignore B, then control that side of the map, get the sniper, and then they get camo. But the way Rebellion countered it with the bottom middle push, it meant Sentinels were kind of caught off guard a little bit, and now it's Rebellion instead who have that control that Sentinels were so desperately searching for.
Suppress linking up with his camo player in Cycle. Lost Soul Snipe though. Camo is going to fall and not even get a trade. That's a blunder. That's one he would really like to have back. A and B in control of Sentinels now. Sniper trying to lock onto that player's scoreboard. It's a swing and a miss. Sniper rifle will change hands.
So Sentinels in control now. They have B and C, they know the team's at A, but they are surrounding them at the moment. It's a good kill from Soul Snipe just to ensure that this isn't going to get out of control, and Mental also follows one. So Sentinels, they tried to press, they tried to squeeze, but now they're going to allow Rebellion just to trickle through their fingers a little bit. This is what I was maybe a little bit worried about. Are Rebellion just going to be sneaky enough to get out of some of these traps that Sentinels try and set?
A and B for Rebellion. There was a numbers advantage on the map for a moment, but that's been cut away. Suppressed, eyes trained over across sandbags. Looking to provide cover for Soul Snipe now. Lethal's going to be the first point of contact then. Lethal wisely backs away, recognizing he's in a fight that's pretty unwinnable. That distraction was enough from Lethal as two members from Sentinels get towards B, close the distance, and convert. They've lost a stronghold along the way, and this is what Rebellion are good at. Pushing you towards one and taking another. Cycle on pillars, expertly jiggle peeking, but Falcate's not interested in that song and dance. Locks in a kill.
So annoying when players do that on pillars as well, and you know full well you can do nothing about it except just call out and hope there's a teammate to follow up. If you don't have a grenade, especially as Falcated getting that initial damage with the beatdown and using the QT just to escape. QT control very important here on Livefire as well. You need to have someone who is confident enough to get aggressive, do damage, but then also reactive enough to instantly get out when you know that you are threatened by the damage the opposition's dealing.
Looks as though that kill from Falcated was on the camouflage player, so that's going to be burned. But it's another one that Rebellion have managed to pick up, but two that they haven't had a major influence on proceedings. One player trying to convert B, but he's all alone. Falcate's going to step in and make it a difficult task. Not only that, but get the reset. It was a momentary triple cap, but Rebellion now looking for C.
Yeah, that was a little bit of a decoy, I think, from Rebellion to ensure they were able to get out of any nonsense. They send one player towards B to force players to actually have to fight it. But then they captured A and C on the other side. This is what I was talking about, disruption. Disrupt the norm. Don't allow the traditional setups to happen. But Sentinels, they react very well. They focus and they target. They all push the same thing to regain said control.
Falcate absolutely frying right now. 10, 2, and 3. Cycle will fall, as will Soul Snipe. Sentinels remain in the ascendancy for now. Boo Boo Doo Boo sitting inside B with Snipe. Has information as a player position towards Big Door. He's going to back away and wait for teammates. He does really not want to be the first point of contact as he retreats towards Nest now. Suppressed with a little bit of poke. Gets information but decides to back away, and 2 kills have gone the way of Rebellion. They have a slight numbers advantage. It looks as though they're trying to rotate towards C.
Yeah, notice how Boo Boo Doo Boo saw the kill feed, saw that players were kind of going down, and it allowed him to grab that QT. He was worried initially that pushing it might leave him vulnerable, but it didn't matter in the end. Rebellion were quick out of Big Door after they got their initial damage, and now they can try and get some control of their own. But great trades coming out from Sentinels at the moment. They're not allowing Rebellion to get any sort of control.
Sentinels playing this one by the book. Absolutely perfectly so far.
I mean, there's a reason why they are 6-1 in qualifiers on this particular map and mode. They do not struggle on it. They've been able to beat Rebellion every single time they face them on strongholds, and you can see that the structure that they play with is really working at the moment. Even the attempt at disrupting it from Rebellion, it's only minor time that they're gaining off the back of it. Yes, they'll get B and C for 5 to 10 seconds, but then Sentinels instantly all send themselves towards one of the strongholds and then regain it yet again.
What's almost been most impressive, there doesn't seem to be any sort of hesitation. They all know exactly what the game plan is, and they're executing it perfectly here. Rebellion will finally get some control, B and C, but again, Sentinels will step in with the camouflage now. Spartan hoping to have a bigger influence than some of his predecessors who picked it up. Lethal will fall. Falcated though. On C then, Boo Boo situated there as well.
You can see the difference between Aquarius and Livefire. Aquarius, which can be a little bit more hectic, where we were unable to see Sentinels get any power-ups, but suddenly when they're on a map where they can control it a little bit more, it's camo after camo, and then it just helps them with their continuing factor of controlling the game. So Rebellion, they can even lean towards the camo at times because they are constantly trying to get the strongholds. If they give up camo, or if they give up the strongholds to try and get camo, then they're going to suddenly get 3 capped. So it's tough now for Rebellion. They are so far behind, and Sentinels are firmly dominating this match.
Real rock and a hard play situation for Rebellion. Not contesting the camouflage really just hands a win condition over to Sentinels. But when you contest it, you're already down on the score, you're already down in caps. That's what we're seeing here. Boo Boo position sandbags. Beautiful Hail Mary will connect over towards B. Soul Snipe will try and convert B. He's alone for the moment. Mental with the snipe will pop the shields of 1 as he continues to drop the shoulder and jiggle and weave his way. He is cut down though. The Sentinels have passed over the 200 point threshold. Rebellion will get some semblance of control though.
The exciting thing with Strongholds is it's never over. How many times have we seen comebacks? And if you can get a trip cap here and force Sentinels back on spawn, disrupt them a little bit so they kind of don't know where their left and rights are, then you can get back into this one. You're 100 points down, you're in control at the moment, but camouflage has to be a focus point. Not only do you need to control these, but you need to have someone who is thinking about getting that camo in 15 seconds. Because if you give it to Sentinels, they will once again find themselves forcing their way into either A or C.
Rebellion have B. That does give them opportunity to go to A or C. They're on the doorstep. As you can see, the pressure's telling. Rebellion really have to try and throw bodies towards B now. It's getting a little bit desperate.
I do like that you use the word pressure, because that's exactly what Sentinels have been doing all game. It's pressuring Rebellion off spawn. It's pressuring them when they try and make a move. If Rebellion all moved through bottom middle, Sentinels had a response. They had players that were having eyes on them. They would do that initial damage. They would back off, and then they would switch and allow someone else to finish off for them. And again, look at the kind of swarm of Sentinels players. They hear the call out that Rebellion are at C. They try and challenge it immediately. Yes, OKC is going to go into control of Rebellion on this occasion, but for the most part, Sentinels have made it work this game.
Rebellion threatening to get a triple cap. Two members of Sentinels will go over to contest back tower. Boo Boo was there to do enough damage to get a kill, but deciding to give up C, recognizing that perhaps Rebellion will come over to cut him down. Instead looks to contest B. Lethal's back green will be able to capitalize on the damage already done. More damage put down, but not aware there's a player positioned over towards Nest, but kills will go 2-2 split. And no doubt Soul Snipe will look to contest this. As Lethal continues to try and capture it, tries to pick up the damage that was already done, but Mental was there to shut it down. Wise to it. And now Rebellion is starting to grow in confidence. He's got the QT, does Mental, he gets himself out of dodge.
Yeah, this is where it's starting to get interesting. This is the kind of disruption that Rebellion needed, and they were down by like, what, 10 kills, but now it's 54 to 53 in favor of Sentinels. So Rebellion right back into it when it comes to slays, and they have had a great period of time where every single time Sentinels have tried to focus on a stronghold, Rebellion have been there. Rebellion have had that one player to be a nuisance, and now they can take control. Now Rebellion can start to dictate the pace here, and Sentinels need to have the answer.
Sentinels have to open the playbook. What have they got? Because it's now them on the back foot. Rebellion starting to have it all their own way. C starting to be converted. Mental's looking to get close to get the trade. Lethal will shut that one down, but Soul Snipe is there to continue to apply that pressure onto A, and another trade goes in, and Rebellion continue to hold A.
And I said it's not over until it's over. A 100-point lead is about to be closed by Rebellion, and now this is where Sentinels, will they begin to crack a little bit? Will they begin to shake and wobble, and Rebellion can just kind of push them over with a little finger? C will be taken. Sentinels regain some control. A massive kill from Spartan, because if Spartan lets rip, if he's the one who's shouting, it's going to regain that confidence for the rest of the team, as now they are putting points on the board yet again, and QT back in the hands of Sentinels.
The escape route was going to lead him to back green, but kills are going in Rebellion's favor. Spartan has got to play this one as clever as he possibly can. Cycle hits a massive body shot, and that's going to put him in retreat mode here. A and C for Rebellion, and our Sentinels starting to wilt.
Starting to wilt a little bit, but couple of key kills, just making sure the Rebellion don't gain too much control, but Cycle from behind. If you can catch that flank, if you can stop that one player who's trying to get behind and try and grab a strongholds off you, it does wonders for your team, because then this happens. You have the player advantage, you get that extra bandit in your hands, and you get that extra damage, and now Rebellion take the lead here, and Sentinels, they need a reply, and they need it fast.
Rebellion hold. How good will the hold be? Do Sentinels have the answer? The opening pick goes the way of Rebellion. Cycle gets another one onto Spartan top middle. And Sentinels have one more push. Time dwindling down. Sentinels nowhere to be seen right now as they try and contest B. Rebellion win game 3.
What a comeback we just saw from Rebellion. They were down, they were out. It was like 200 to 80. But this is why we love strongholds.
Hey, no, they've let that one slip through their fingers.
I mean, Shopify Rebellion were down in slays by about 10 when we saw Sentinels in control, up by about 100. Rebellion ended that up by 14 kills. They had an unbelievable comeback.
And game 1, 2-1. 2 Sentinels, but it's been all Rebellion from there on out. And now we head to oddball recharge, and Dan, I know you've got some stats for me.
This is great for Rebellion. This was the one objective I was confident they would be able to take. They haven't lost it throughout the entirety of the qualifiers. 6-0 on oddball recharge. That is amazing news, and they also beat Sentinels on this during the qualifiers. This is one of their better maps and modes. As we know, though, that can change when we get to LAN, because we just saw the exact opposite, where Shopify Rebellion were able to beat Sentinels on one of their better game types here. But look at the smiles on the faces now of Rebellion, because they know how close they are.
True, they don't mean everything, but they definitely mean something.
I remember Rebellion have a really good starting strategy on recharge as well. They send 2 to kind of trippy box to challenge the players. They send nades over towards Whirlpool as well, but that's depending on what spawn they're going to get here. But they will get a chance to have both spawns because we're going to be playing oddball. We saw in the qualifiers that it was Rebellion who had the better starting strategy, and here we go. Triple boxes where they send players, but it's a great response from Sentinels, almost recognizing it, sending several players to Whirlpool to shut down the control that Rebellion try and get.
They managed to get their hands on the ball as well. A lot of damage being done by Suppressed here.
Wow.
Enemy has the ball. Ball drop.
And now, Rebellion have a gold pipes setup.
Did Sentinels overcommit to Whirlpool to try and stop what we've seen from Rebellion previously? That's the real question, because Rebellion, all the meanwhile, while Sentinels heavily swayed that way, they're able to get camouflage, they're able to get ball control, and now SoulSnipe just waiting for his moment to pounce onto Spartan, and will get the kill, and should be able to help his teammate for 2.
Ball drop.
Alcade throws in a couple of grenades. He's down to no shields.
Great nades.
Almost evaded that final grenade as well. Was able to put down a little bit more damage onto the camo player, but ultimately SoulSnipe has played this one expertly.
The ball.
Ball is completely rotated out of gold pipes and now over towards blue.
Ball drop.
Rebellion looking dangerous here.
It's almost like they are just kind of living and breathing from that previous game. You know, adrenaline's going to be in their veins for sure. Wasn't a break opportunity for Sentinels. They didn't go for a little bathroom break to try and disrupt anything either. As our SoulSnipe just going to be holding back a little bit. Watching over this ball. It's an early lead for Rebellion, but Sentinels have been able to calm it a little bit. They've slowed it all down. Now, if Sentinels can get ahead, if they can start to pick apart Rebellion, you need to start to reassert some dominance here. Win a couple of individual engagements. Try and destroy that momentum that Rebellion have been able to gain.
Lethal's got shock. He's got information that there's at least one long haul as he sees Mental's toes. Fires one shock rifle shot. Second one will connect with the body. Lethal just not able to apply the finishing touches onto that kill. And unfortunately, this setup is going to be completely broken wide open. And they have not played the ball, have Sentinels.
And this really is going to be an opener now for Rebellion. Not only because they have ball control, it's camouflage too. And Suppress just needs to be listening to his teammates. Camo being on any map is always such a very important moment for you as a player, because you have to be productive with it, but it doesn't mean you have to be too aggressive. You can wait, you can use your invisibility to your advantage, and he's done just that. He was patient, he made sure that the Sentinels push didn't really account to anything apart from a play ball.
Enemy has the ball.
And look at that Shroud as well, just to protect any spawners over towards A are not going to be able to see that ball guy trying to get away.
That's back-to-back camouflages for Rebellion. They hold the lead. They hold the ball. 2 members of Sentinels positioned over towards tower. Suppress recognizes the information that's come his way. He's going to try and get away, but Spartan cuts him off the pass and gets that kill.
Enemy has the ball.
Ball immediately thrown down as Rebellion realize it's going to be a slay-off. 2 fall apiece. Ball still situated towards long haul. Boo Boo Doo Boo down to no shields as he tried to clamber towards grapple.
Enemy has the ball.
Ball back in the hands of the Soul Man.
You're in a pretty good position. If you can shut down Boo Boo Doo Boo throughout this game, he is the ball guy for Sentinels. Like 4 times the amount of ball time than the rest of the team throughout qualifiers. If you can consistently kill him first, then you know full well that you're going to be in a pretty good spot and not allowing Boo Boo to get anywhere near that ball. And 3 are dead now for Sentinels, and Boo Boo is that last remaining player, and he's going to desperately try and stay alive. Unable to do so, but does go out at least with a trade. But it's a 59-21 lead at the moment for Rebellion, and they seem firmly in control.
A significant lead.
Enemy has the ball.
Ball over towards pipes. Sentinels will get hands on. Bubu looking to provide cover fire for his ball carrier. Lethal dropped down towards batteries, and that was ill-advised,
The ball.
as it was straight into the welcoming gun of Cycle, and yet another camouflage goes the way of Rebellion.
And you can see why Rebellion are unbeaten on this map and mode throughout the qualifiers, because their camo control, again, similarly to what we saw in Slayer Aquarius, with their overshield control, it is persistent, it is consistent, and Sentinels haven't really been able to have anyone to challenge it, because again, Rebellion have been the team that are ahead in the objective. On the Slayer, they were ahead on the Slay, so then they could work with it. Now they're ahead with the ball time, so Sentinels don't even have a chance to go to that camo because they have to be thinking about the ball.
Beautiful trigger discipline
The ball.
from Cycle. He chases one player down, but might have chased him to his death. Lethal was there to provide cover for his teammate. Ball will get played. Suppressed, taking no risks here, as they have a significant lead.
Oh, and look at this, he's just delaying now, frustrating, almost gets the kill onto Spartan, but that keeps two players at blue whilst that ball is spawning, allowing your spawners, allowing your teammates to regain control over towards batteries, and then you stop any sort of ball time. So those few seconds, they can be crucial.
Soul snipes in pipes. Spartan's on double stack, done some damage, but unfortunately for him, teammates were not there to capitalize on it. He loses his life. Bubu trying to get the trade from here. It's an awkward fight inside the shroud. Two men enter, one man leaves. And it was Bubu towards long haul, down to no shields. He has some scars and scrapes, but he will survive, as they now make a push towards pipes, hoping Rebellion have no nades for this. They don't even need them. They have enough damage with the shock rifle, and that chain damage was significant, and it was punishing.
And if you're Sentinels here, you really want to get the shock in the hands of Spartan and allow him to start kind of leading the way with the initial damage so the rest of the team can go off the back of it.
The ball.
More ball time, suppressed, maybe gets up. I don't hate it, I don't hate the risk, but now the rest of the team, they need to go off the back of that risk. They need to get a little bit defensive. Don't allow Sentinels to gain control of pipes here, otherwise they get the setup, and that's good from Cycle. Rebellion, they're just playing this so well. They're always in a two. They always have someone to support them right now.
What do Sentinels have? I know what they don't have. That's time. 4 seconds to be exact, and they're not going to get close enough, as Cycle will lock in round number 1.
One round away then from taking down Sentinels in pool play. And you heard it on the desk. We knew that this pool was going to be close. We knew there was going to be some good games, and Rebellion looking to try and upset the higher seed of Sentinels very early on here, Friday in Texas. But it's not done yet. Similarly to Strongholds, you always got a chance to get back into a game with oddball, with the round resetting as the fight for camo goes down once more. And it does seem like Sentinels are far more comfortable when they spawn on the opposition side. They really struggled when they spawn over towards A, but the C spawns just allows them to play it a little bit more different.
Falcade was baiting the camouflage, caught between two minds of going and securing it for his team, or just waiting and watching, and he done the latter. Didn't get enough damage on the Soul Snipe, and another camouflage goes the way of Rebellion. Ball tossed out. Soul Snipe says no, 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 and tosses it right back in the window.
The ball. Ball.
Rebellion have got control of pipe. Spartan's being cleared out. And that
Enemy
means
has the ball.
some semblance of control for Rebellion.
And it was a very small thing from Soul Snipe. Had he not grabbed that ball, he would have got
Enemy
that
has the
kill,
ball.
but he knows full well he had teammates coming into it and said, actually, we can
Enemy
get
has
a
the
little bit of time here if I catch this, and maybe I get the kill alongside my teammate. So again, it's a risky play, but I think it is a smart one. It didn't really pay off in the end, but I love that he attempted it.
Well, we speak about the margins, right? If he gets that kill, but the ball falls down towards batteries, he has to jump back down and then rotate the ball back up. Instead, happy to sacrifice his life to try and get some ball time. Speaking of, Lethal's got hands on and is starting to take a little bit of a significant lead here, just about closing the 40-point threshold.
Ball dropped.
Somewhat of a slow game for Spartan in the moment, 6 in 15. He can start to get back into it and find himself on top in some individual fights, then there is still a good chance for Sentinels in this series. But they are up 43-3 in this round, so a really strong start. Notice they gave up the camo at the start of the game so that they could get that strong start with the ball and then force Rebellion to try and break a setup. And I would say that's one thing Sentinels are better at than Rebellion, is the setups in general and the breaking offset setup. So Rebellion just need to make sure they don't allow Sentinels to get in that position too often. There's another camo.
Another camo.
Enemy has
And another
played
one
a
for
victory.
Rebellion. This has got to be frustrating for not only Sentinels, but Sentinels fans watching this. Wondering where it's all going wrong when it comes to the power-ups. Prioritizing instead to get ball time They have 60 seconds now, and it's important to note they're winning this round, and with Spartan having a game like 8 and 16, we know how likely he is to catch fire at any given time. If you're already winning the round, it's good things coming if Spartan can catch that fire.
You feel like Rebellion kind of have to get it done here with the 2-0, otherwise you allow Sentinels to regain that momentum and that confidence. But without the camouflage, Rebellion might struggle to break these setups, so it is imperative they keep getting them. So perhaps Sentinels need to start thinking about at least sending one player to maybe contest it, but then you naturally leave open your defense. So it is a difficult thing to try and juggle here on recharge, especially when you have that ball control. Cycle not able to get that kill in the end. Both players just knowing on being on no shields there, you have to back off and hope a teammate can really help you out.
Spartan over towards Heaven will get fired from Cycle. Lethal was there though. 3 kills go in favor, making all 4 dead for Rebellion for a moment. And this is much better from the Sentinels.
Lethal listening so well. It's incredible, really. Every single time you see a player that is one shot, Lethal pops out of nowhere just to put a bullet in the head. Communication from Sentinels letting him know, again, there's one more. Ears to the ground and making sure that none of these no-shield players are able to get away. It is cleanup crew at the moment for Lethal.
What was it Lethal was doing in the office? Was he playing Halo or was he doing janitor work? He's on an absolute cleanup situation at the moment. He did request that we have some plants and a water fountain on the main stage, but unfortunately that was out of budget. And now we're all tied up as Sentinels show signs of life. 1-1 here. And round 3 will be the decider.
And again, I'm going to say it, Rebellion, they have to get it done here in Oddball. Solitude is not where you want to go for a game 5 against Sentinels, and I guess I'll go into that later if we do get there, but right now Rebellion just have to focus on the task at hand. They do have the better spawn that they had from previous, but it's a different starting strategy from Sentinels this time. But again, it's Rebellion who get the better of them, all 4 down for Sen. And Rebellion's Seaside spawn start is so powerful. They have gained all the tools they could have wanted. Now suppressed.
And he has the ball.
He has the shock to work with, but just needs to escape here, and he's able to do so thanks to the camouflage.
Suppressed is a very important player on the map right now.
Ball dropped.
With that camo and shock.
And he has the ball.
He can really cut away the numbers that Sentinels have when they push forward. Lethal's got a pick on the cycle. Boo-Boo's going to soar forward. 2 shock rifle shots. Will not find the face. Now his position's been given up. Ball's being played 30 seconds of time, and that's valuable.
What a difference maker that could have been, though, if you'd hit that initial shock rifle shot. Suddenly you've been full shields, and oh, that's going to be a nice double from Soul Snipe. Just waiting for the player to come round. Easy shot onto the plasmas. And Rebellion again, just able to pick up that ball off the spot, and no player from Sentinels to stop them initially. Boo-Boo is going to be in gold, but he's quickly shut down. Sentinels just need to wrestle back this control quickly. Don't allow Rebellion to get too much of a lead here, because then Rebellion can start to do what they did in the first round and start collapsing on you wherever you're spawning.
Alcade was good for 1. Lost Spartan in the process, though.
Enemy has the ball.
Now it's Sentinel's opportunity to get hands on ball. Boo-Boo will take some initial damage as he tries to rotate it towards long haul, but Suppressed dives forward and happy to take the trade. Just to eat away at the clock and force Sentinels to make some plays.
The ball.
Plays have been made. Spartan has hands on the ball, happy to milk it for as long as he possibly can before the Rebellion numbers get close.
I think this is what Sentinels need. They need everyone to be playing the part of the ball here. One thing you don't want to get sucked into is Boo-Boo thinking he's the ball guy as all 4 members of Sentinels go down, and then trying to grab that ball just in desperate attempt to try and get some time on the board, and then allowing Rebellion to get the player advantage off the back of the kill. But now with all 4 dead, Rebellion do have the player advantage as Suppress gets the double. It's a perfect, and he has the camouflage, and Rebellion now halfway there.
It's been the story of this series.
Enemy halfway to
Power-ups, power weapons, but more importantly, it's been the power-ups. Camouflages and overshields have more often than not fallen to Rebellion. And that's not by accident, that's something that they've worked on. Soul Snipe hits some beautiful shots to shut down Lethal in the blue pipes. As the shroud screen pops up, Cycle's taking no risks with this ball. He's opting to play it instead. 62-11. And it's a long road back for Sentinels here.
But it's a play ball, and look where Rebellion are. Oh, they're back over towards batteries, because once more there is Soul Snipe just to buy time for his teammates so that they can control that side of the map. Okay, Mental has fallen, so it is going to be a tougher fight here, but Cycle is in a spot to maybe clean things up. But Boo-Boo catches him off guard, but if he goes down, which he does, it just opens up even more control again for Rebellion.
confidence these players have in the 1v1 situation. Even when they're down to no shields, they back themselves to hit the final shots that are required. And they've been massive.
Ball dropped.
Ball was picked up, but Suppress loses his life. Mental's got hands on. 3 members of Sentinels positioned over towards A, making all 4 members now. And 70 seconds and climbing here for Rebellion. They're almost home.
Yeah, this is kind of last-ditch saloon for Sentinels with some of these pushes now. If they find themselves 3 or 4 dead, they might not get another opportunity at pushing for this ball. 2 have gone down. Cycle, though, will hold with Suppress. Spartan tries to push it, should get cleaned up, and will do so. But at least they stop this ball time. But great nades again from Cycle. And he can now just run away. He can get this ball to the other side. He knows they're spawning over towards Elevator. There is a real chance that Rebellion could hold and win from this point.
Sentinels continue to push from the Whirlpool. Grenades doing so much damage. Cycle doing so much damage. 3 dead. Lethal, the last man on the map over towards batteries. Cycle has that information and continues to hold the ball. Lethal gets close and gets the trade.
That is a big trade from Cycle, though. He had no ammo, he had to reload, and that does give Sentinels a slight lifeline here now. But they can't afford to slip up. Camo is going to be up, but they can't go for it. They have to go for the ball here.
Gets close to the ball. Spartan gets to stop. He's got hands on, but what way has the camouflage gone? Lethal's down there, but he's died. 3 members of Sentinels have fallen. Boo Boo nowhere near the ball. Camouflage goes to the chest. Not that they even need it. As Rebellion continue to hold, requiring only now 4 seconds to close out this series, and they will win the series against Sentinels.
And what a series it was from Rebellion. When they looked like they were down and out in the Strongholds game, and they come back, and ever since, and they didn't look like they were going to ever drop that series. And you can see on the other side for Sentinels, they know that they've let that one slip. They were the favorites. They came into this as the 3rd seed, the highest seed in this group. For Rebellion, they shift things over. And I wonder what Soul Snipe's thinking about that one. You were talking about, leaving his friends, his longtime teammates to form this Rebellion roster. Well, it seems like there may be some new blood here in the HCS, and a lot of our up-and-comers are certainly shining.
Rebellion put themselves in the conversation. They take down the 3rd seeded team in Sentinels, like you mentioned, Dan. And it's dejection on the stage. You can see it on Spartan's face. They were the favorites. But this wasn't an upset. This was something that could be expected. These 2 teams have locked horns before, and there's been very little between them.
I think in Rebellion's eyes, no, it wasn't an upset. They probably came into this saying, we can beat them, we have beaten them, why can't we do it again? It's just an upset on paper. As overall, Rebellion outslaying.
Texas, give it up for Shopify Rebellion as they take down Sentinels and move on in the bracket. I'm on the stage with Billy G, aka Mental, and my man, how did you guys get this series done? It was a 3-1 victory, and you guys going up against one of the only teams that did not make a team change this season. How did you guys get it done?
We knew there could be really well practice going to this event. The map pool wasn't the best in our favor. Pit's probably one of our weaker maps, so we had a close pit. We still could have won that one, so after we lost it, we're like, it's whatever. We shook it off and knew the next couple maps weren't as bad as pit for us, so yeah.
There you go. And so now, as I know, me and you got a long history, and you are a dominant gamer, and you have been for years. Talk to me about this new Shopify Rebellion team, and how does it feel to play with these guys, and do you think you could do big things with this roster?
Yeah, I've never been more confident going to an event with the roster in Halo so far. I guess, Soul Snipe and Suppressed on the team now, and those guys are GOATs. So last year we lost them some close matches, so I think we kind of combined the 2 of the teams. And yeah, super confident going to this event with this team. They're great players.
There you go. And my last question is about Coach Bestman. It's another season with him. What has he been doing for the team?
A lot of behind the scenes work. Bestman's he's known for being a pro back in the day, so he's got a lot of knowledge, and he's helped me improve as a player, I guess, throughout Halo seasons, because I came from different games. So he's helped me a lot personally for this team. He's helped a lot. He's very vocal with this team, and yeah, I hope this is our season.
All right, I hope it's your season 2 as well. That's gonna do it for me and Mentor on the stage. Show some love to Shopify Rebellion. Lottie, take us away.
Thank you so much, Blaze. Shopify Rebellion with the first upset of the major. Incredible turn of events for this team. And what a confidence builder and booster for these guys to take down a team like Sentinels. And I love a full circle moment. You know this. And when we talked about the pools, we talked about how Shopify really could shock the world and potentially take down Sentinels in this roster. And the fashion in which they did that was extremely impressive, to say the least. Clutch, what comes to your mind when you think back on this series and how things really start to unravel for Rebellion as we got to the later parts of the series?
Well, things unravel for Sentinels because I feel like in Game 2, they didn't get a single overshield. In Game 4, they didn't get a single camo, and that's what happens when you don't get power-ups and you're playing against those guys. I mean, that is a very talented roster. They did such a good job of being on top of those power-ups and putting them to use. I mean, that Slayer was where they got their feet back in the series, because Game 1 might have been a 2-1 score, and Mental said it was close. It did not feel close. It felt like Sentinels were in the driver's seat the entire time, but something changed in that Game 2. They win the opening break. They get those overshields. They're able to use that to just get that snowball rolling, gain your confidence, and find your footing in the series. And with that, I really think that confidence went miles away. You saw the gun skill on Shopify really start to stand out towards the end of the series.
It really was interesting because this first map we're watching right now, Walshy, it was really showing Sentinel's experience, and you're looking at players like Falcated, who, the silent assassin, having such a good game alongside Boo Boo, etc. And things just started to just devolve for them, and it was really interesting to see how Shopify started to capitalize on that. What do you think went particularly wrong for Sentinels?
It's hard to pinpoint that. Like, on one hand, you'd like to say, oh, so-and-so wasn't having the best game. Like, Falcated, he was playing incredibly well despite his team losing in these cases. Yes, you could argue that maybe Boo Boo, Lethal, Sparty were all getting shut down at different times, but by no means was Sentinels playing bad. They just straight up got outplayed. Like you said, they got out-rotated. They lost as many power-ups as you possibly can.
I'm going to challenge that. I think Spartan had a really poor series, in my opinion. And statistically, and honestly, Spartan known for being one of those guys that you can trust in those one-on-one gunfights to give your team that man advantage. Cycle was shutting him down in those one-on-ones. Nope, there's not a lot of players on this planet that I believe win that many one-on-ones against a player like Spartan. It felt like consistently Cycle was getting the upper hand. He gave his team so much opportunity. And as we take a look at the stats, a player we haven't even mentioned yet, Soul Snipe, really having an impact on this series with the 53 kills. And I think that it really was going to take everyone on Shopify having their moments, and I think they had their moments and took full advantage of them in those last 3 games.
They certainly did have their moments, but I think another thing I want to touch upon is the support the team had for one another. I think at times, especially in that oddball, we really started to see Sentinels look a little bit lost on the map at times, not being able to pick up or capitalize on power-ups, equipment. It was all going in the hands of Shopify, and I truly do believe that was because of the fight that they had with one another, the duo system that they had, the partnership. They were able to support one another, deal damage, make sure they clean up kills and bait and switch effectively. That was so beautiful. Something that you would expect out of some of the best teams we have in the world.
A lot of those camo fights, especially in that second and third round, you could tell Sentinels were realizing that they weren't getting some of the power-ups. So you would see one of the players for Sentinels go for it. But like you said, Vlad, it was always multiple members of Shopify focused on acquiring that power-up, and they always had the numbers advantage and the damage advantage to get that power-up. And those camo players made so many different clutch plays to get them the margins of victory that they had.
Yeah, and I also felt like there was just zero hesitation from Shopify Rebellion during those games. A lot of times when you see these teams that have been together a lot longer, someone like Sentinels, they start to get in this comfort zone. They're always used to fighting 2-on-1s. They're always pushing together. However, sometimes when push comes to shove and you get in those chaotic situations, you have to not hesitate, not be afraid, just charge out and take a fight and win something for your team.
Indeed, indeed, indeed.